Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. My videos are about love, infinity, creation, energy, because this is exactly who we are. We're infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. I'm very happy that I found this new mechanism, this new medium that I can use to convey the message, to share the message in a way that's gonna be uninterrupted. There will be no hiccups. There will be no feed cutoffs. None of the shenanigans will be happening anymore. And this is wonderful. This is wonderful. And then the quality of the video feed is a lot higher as well. It's a lot higher, so you can have a full HD experience rather than a 720p experience, like a traditional resolution. So this is very good. This is fantastic. So today's video is a very important video. It's called Cycle. So you can always refer to it on the website, on Substack and YouTube. y.how/cycle. That's y.how/cycle. So what cycle? Well, it's the infinity cycle. The infinity cycle. And the infinity cycle is a beautiful cycle. Please refer to the visual because it's infinite in nature. It's an infinite feedback loop. That's what it is. But the terminology is infinity cycle because, as you know, this infinity symbol that in mathematics we use is the symbol, the self-reinforcing mechanism, the self-perpetuating mechanism that has a singularity in the meaning, in the middle. It has a point, a union, the singularity that unites the cycle into a self-perpetuity. And that when energy, which is creation itself, love itself, consciousness and self-awareness, completes a cycle, meaning goes through the whole loop, that's called an infinity cycle. It's one infinity cycle, okay? And if you want to understand it from our point of view, biological beings that we are, a benevolent species, heart-based species, a love-based species, we live to love and we love to live because our primordial instinct is to exist and live, and we are alive as a result of the human heartbeat. It's our singularity. It's the pulse of life, the pulse of creation that allow us to be conscious and self-aware, think and understand things and understand nature and its nature, which is infinite, infinity itself, so we can understand what we are, which is pure love and pure energy, consciousness and self-awareness, just like infinity itself. So because we are biological and we are the biological scale of creation of infinity itself, I'm going to be explaining things from our point of view and extrapolating it into bigger scales, larger scales that are all mathematical, all based on physics, and they're observable occurrence, they're observable phenomena in nature, out there, the sun, the earth, the galaxies, the universe as we call it, and infinity itself, which is a creator. Creation creates creators, and creators create creations. This is an infinite cycle as well. So let's talk about it. Infinity cycle equals pulse. And pulse equals oscillation. Okay? So every time an infinity cycle gets completed, it meets at the singularity. After completing the full cycle, that in our biological terms is an oscillation. It's a pulse. A pulse of life, a pulse of creation. That makes us self-aware and conscious, that keeps us alive so we can keep on loving and be here, present, sentient beings, engage with our emotions, our hearts, our feelings, and love. Because love is energy, and energy is creation, energy is life, And this is what the mechanisms are. This is how biology operates. So the human heartbeat, the resonance of it, the oscillation, is an infinity cycle at the biological scale. That pulse coming from the human heart is what keeps us alive, is what makes us conscious, self-aware, sentient, and intelligent. So we can understand that we're one with infinity, that we're infinite ourselves, and that we're creators. Because creation creates creators, and creators create creations. And we were created by creation, thus becoming creators. And as creators, because we're conscious and self-aware and infinite in nature, we can create creations. And we do this with the energy of love, because the energy of love is infinity itself. It's consciousness and self-awareness. This is what it is. But at the biological scale, so we can understand what it is and realize what it with our minds, because we're conscious and self-aware of its existence, infinity itself, love itself. Okay? So an infinity cycle equals pulse, and pulse equals oscillation. An oscillation is that. It's a cycle. It's energy itself pulsing. It's a full cycle of it, an infinite cycle of it. And there is an infinite number of scales, but at the biological scales is the human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. Why? Because infinity created us, so we can be conscious and self-aware and love. And how do we realize that we're conscious and self-aware and that we love and we create with the energy of love? By being alive, by being created. And what keeps us alive so we can be conscious and self-aware is the human heartbeat. Without the human heartbeat, we wouldn't exist. The human heartbeat comes from the heart. So the biological creator of the human species is the human heart. Okay? It's the singularity. It's the pulse of life, the pulse of creation that keeps us alive. So we understand, we're conscious and self-aware. So with our senses, we make sense of reality and perception. And we know what the world is. We understand what infinity is. We can think for ourselves. We understand the meaning of why, which is a big component of today's video. Because why itself has an infinite nature. Okay, so we can make sense of reality in a biological way, which is physical. Because we're shapes, we're figures, we're geometric in nature, we're geometrical, we're geometry. And then we can observe with our eyes that are also spherical, so we can see the world and understand the world with our consciousness and self-awareness and make sense of it. And when we really make sense of it and understand its nature, which is infinite, then we understand that we ourselves are part of infinity. And we're infinite in nature, and this is who we are, and we're creators just like creation itself, because creation replicates itself at all scales of creation, and is decentralized and distributed. So it allows the creation that has created, the creator, at that scale, to do the same as infinity itself does, which is to create. And because love comes from the heart, and we're alive because of the human heartbeat, then that's the key. We're alive to love. Our instinct to love comes as a result of our instinct to live. They come together. We live to love and we love to live because we want to have purposeful lives, meaningful lives. We want to have fulfilling lives. We want to have happy lives. The purpose of life is a life with purpose because we're conscious and self-aware. We're here for a reason. And the reason that we're here for is to love. And love is infinity itself. The heart we're sentient as a result of a heartbeat. Because we're conscious and self-aware and intelligent. We can think. And being sentient is what makes us special because it's what allows us to have emotions and feelings in the first place. Emotions come from the heart, which is what gives us life in the first place because of the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, the human heartbeat. So if we understand this, which is the case, we're a benevolent species, this is our nature. We're light spherical beings because the electromagnetic field of creation itself, the human heartbeat, generates an electromagnetic field around the human body that powers the human body. So all systems go live. The organs function as a result of that. Remember, we're electricity, we're energy in biochemical terms. The synapse of the brain is electricity, is signals, and the whole body works in that way. We're electrical at all levels of existence, at the biological scales. Just like infinity itself at all levels, the sun is a spherical energy that generates has a fusion reaction due to its own singularity that creates elements, and these elements create life as we know it. And the earth itself is pure energy in a highly dense way. Okay? So this is what it is. And love can be measured as sentient beings. Is the highest frequency that the human heart can emit. Okay? The highest frequency that the human heart can emit is love. And energy is creation, because the creator comes from the heart, and love comes from the heart. So love is energy, and it can be measured. So the highest frequency of creation itself at a biological scale is love. So then again, high energy, high creation, just like the sun. The sun has high levels of energy, and it has the ability to create everything that we know, including ourselves as a result. So if we are the same at the biological scale, we create with the energy of love. It's the highest level of energy that we can reach, because energy comes from the high, because it gives us lives in the first place. So love is the highest energy of creation. That's why when we make love, we have children, we're creating life. Polarized life, just like ourselves, light spherical beings. It's the polarization of the opposites, female and male coming together, representing polarization. The egg and sperm coming together, creating life. And then our instinct is to love our creation. We love our children, it's our instinct. And we raise them, and the life cycle continues. So because of this nature, then we also have the ability to love ourselves, and then love our creations, and love others. And others have the ability to love us, because it's reciprocal. It's a cycle. Everyone, it's an infinity cycle. Each of us with our resonance, with our own pulse, with our own oscillation, our own singularity, the human heartbeat, that allows us to relate and resonate with each other's energy of love and creation, which is everything, because we're conscious and self-aware because of it in the first place. So as a result of that, we all can create, we all can love ourselves and each other. So this is the harmony of existence itself, understanding that our nature is a benevolent species. We are a benevolent species, a love-based species, a heart-based species. This is who we are. We live to love, and we love to live. And love is the energy of creation, biologically speaking, because it's the highest frequency that the human heart emits. And energy comes from the heart because of the human heartbeat, and it gives us life. Okay? So then if we understand this, then we know that love is the answer. Love is the power of love, is the mechanism to create in existence from a biological point of view. And love itself is the same mechanism at other scales, but we don't call it love, because love is this meaning that we give to humans as a word to describe this creation, everything that exists, as conscious and self-aware, and infinity itself, and understanding that we create with our hearts. But at other scales, we don't give it that terminology, because we don't think of the sun, for example, as a human being with emotions. We think of it as just a creator, as a fusion reaction, creating elements. But that spherical energy that's polarized and electromagnetic, it has its own level of consciousness and self-awareness at that scale of creation, which is gigantic, because it's creating, and creators are conscious of the creation, because it's creating things that create us in the first place. It's creating elements, hydrogen and helium, that create the conditions for existence itself. And it happens at the same scale on Earth, because it's also spherical. Earth is spherical in nature too, and it has its own electromagnetic field like us and the sun. And because of its natural ability and the electromagnetic field of the Earth, we have an atmosphere, and we have a biosphere, and all the support systems required for us to exist, and have the support systems, oxygen, which is another element, created because of the conditions here on Earth and the sun. So then again, it's creation at that scale, is love, self-consciousness, and self-awareness and consciousness at that scale, the Earth scale, that we don't call it love necessarily, but it is the same frequencies, the same creation, when it comes from the electromagnetic field of the Earth singularity. And same with the sun. The sun has its own singularity that creates the conditions for that fusion reaction, that creates the elements in the first place. So it is love, but we just give it different names at different scales, but it's the same mechanism. It's the coherence of infinity. Is that. It's consciousness and self-awareness at different scales. And as a result of a heartbeat, which is that pulse, the infinite cycle itself, that singularity, the oscillation that gives us life, we are creators as a result of it. We're conscious and self-aware. We exist so we can know what infinity is and visualize it as an energy, spherical energy, what it is, and all these attributes that I have described in previous videos, the values and the qualities of it, its nature, and then we can see it and observe it across infinity because we're part of it. This is who we are, this is our nature. Okay, so let's talk about today's video, which is cycle. Is this infinity cycle equals poles and poles equals oscillation. But what cycle? Well, the infinity cycle, which is everything because infinity is creation. And you got to think of it as two elements of it. You have two elements to infinity because it's a singularity in the middle, but then you got that whole loop, two that connect, the two that connect and make one. That. So each of those represents a polarity. The other side of it, like the cycle, the full cycle of infinity itself, when it's self-aware and is conscious of its own creation and itself, like just we are. But at that scale of creation, infinite energy, infinite spherical energy, gets conscious and self-aware and has the ability to create, and the mechanism is love. You just don't call it love at that scale, but it is the same nature because it's energy creating, just like the human energy of the heart creates life, and then we create with our ideas and our minds with the heart energy, and we take action, body energy, heart energy, mind energy, true self energy as one, and we take purposeful daily action, and we create and we make our dreams come true. We arrive to our destinations and as compasses, which is who we are, is our nature. So you see, this is full circle, this comes together. So let's talk about infinity itself and the cycle. So the two parts of it, to create that mechanism, that self-reinforcing loop that, creates the mechanics, the polarity. So it's the first part of the first half of this equation, this symbolism, this symbol, infinity itself, with the singularity at the heart, is why. In our terms, in human terms, is why. The word why, which is purpose, is infinity itself, because why, the infinite nature of why, you can ask why and get to infinity. Why? Because why is the word that we have created as humans, as language, to make sense of our consciousness and self-awareness, of our intelligence as sentient beings, to make sense of infinity itself. Why? Because why is the mechanism that we use to understand the origin of something, the genesis. And the creator created us, so it came before us, so it's genesis. It came before us, so it's a creator. It happened before, right? So that means the origin. It happened before us because he created us. So it's a sequence, okay? That is the sequence. We can trace it back to the origin, to the source of creation. So then again, why is the mechanism that you use to understand the source of something, the root cause, the origin, the genesis, the because, the why, the reason why something is in first place. So, and because infinity created us and infinity is creation and is infinite in nature, because there's always an infinity itself is the singularity that never ends, it's self-learned, then we always that's why we have a why. Always there is a new why. You can ask why an infinite number of times and you're going to get to a level of abstract thinking in which there is no answer. So when you get to that level, then you're hitting an infinity. So an infinite, which is boundless, is immeasurable, you cannot understand it, and you make sense of it with the other side of the equation, which is how. Of why and how coming together. Why, how is a mechanism. As conscious human beings that we are, sentient and self-aware, intelligent, because when you ask why and there's no understanding of the because of the of, then you are creating at that stage, just as an infinite creator that we are. And the way you make that creation true, manifested, is through how. And what's how? Well, how is love. Love is how creation creates. And the energy of the heart, the highest frequency that created us in the first place, so we can create. And how does love manifest? Well, it's in emotion. We have an instinct to love, but we live to love and we love to live. So what's that feeling that we feel great about? So we actually do what we're supposed to do, purposefully purposefully built for, which is to create. You see, full circle. And what do we do? Purposeful daily action, compass itself, identity and true self. The identity comes from what? From the true self. And why do we have a true self in the first place? Because we're conscious and self-aware. Why? Because of the human heartbeat. So it's full circle, the pulse there, the infinite cycle, the oscillation, the singularity, the biological skills, making us conscious so we can choose our whys, our infinities. We choose our calling, we choose our dreams, we choose our purpose, we choose our destinations, we choose our goals, purposeful goals. And purposeful goals, the foundation of purposeful goals is purposeful daily action. It's purposeful daily action. And daily action, purposeful action, action proves free will. It manifests free will because we are creators. And our free will is part of our consciousness and self-awareness that we as loving individuals with a benevolent nature we create. We create with our love, we create with our hearts. So, and then we do it with our hands, purposeful daily action. And this is full circle, spherical in nature, compass is spherical in nature. So it starts with the identity and the true self, the creator, us, the individual, you, me. And then, because we're conscious and self-aware and have free will, we manifest our free will by taking purposeful daily action here and now. So we move from identity and true self into the second primary element, which is purpose. And again, infinity itself. Why? You see, it comes full circle. Once you understand the biological singularity of you, then why emerges as a result? Purpose. Because our purpose of life is a life of purpose. We live to love and we love to live purposeful lives, happy lives, meaningful lives, fulfilling lives. Because we all want to feel good, and love makes us feel good. It's an energy from the heart. It's our instinct to feel good. We want to feel good. So then again, we are here to love. And we create through love, because it's the energy of the heart that gives us life in the first place because of the heartbeat. So you see, this is all connected. Love is how creation creates. So it's why, how coming together at the singularity. And then what is the third primary element? Time and energy, meaning we're conscious and self-aware. We understand and perceive and have senses and see reality. And we are energy, so we need to manage our energy and the time, the relativity of time as we live in the here and now. So we can actually get on our lives and create. And we create with purposeful daily action. We manifest free will by taking purposeful daily action. Okay, and that's the fourth primary element of compass, action. And then it leads to the fifth primary element, which is why how, which is this mechanism that reminds us. You see, because why how is the recalibration mechanism of compass. Why how is the self-correction mechanism of compass. That's what why how is. It helps us to establish our bearings. So we understand that we are this infinity, that this singularity. This is who we are. Why how is both parts of infinity coming together as one. Because we ask why infinity itself, because we're conscious and self-aware, and then we create with love, which is how. How do we go about it? Well, we go about it with love. We create with love, purposeful daily action, putting love behind our actions, creating with love, with the energy of the heart, creating. And when you engage with high energy, love energy, then you create the most beautiful things, not only life, by making love and having children, but and loving your children and understanding the nature of love by loving your children with all your heart and doing what it takes for your children to be grown-ups and do the same, and the life cycle continues. But we also love ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we understand our true nature. And what we're here to do, to create, is true self-boundaries, the dimensions, identity and true self, the heartbeat, the singularity itself, at the heart of it. And then, what does that do? Well, it allows us to create things with our hands. We choose our purpose, our why. And how do we manifest why? Infinity itself, our choice, our origin, our beginning, our dream that we choose, the because, the reason that we don't have an answer for, that we are manifesting and creating, our dream coming true. Because we are infinite, so we create. Because infinity is creation. Then it's love. Love how. Yeah, love is how creation creates, and we are creation. We are created to create. Creation creates creators, and creators create creations. And we love, so we create. That's how we create. Why is the energy of infinity, the purpose that comes to us, the vision of the future, the dream, and we make it happen with our actions. And that's love, purposeful daily action, purposeful love, purposeful energy. And this is what why how is. Why how is the recalibrating mechanism that allows us, infinity itself, to come to terms. So we can recalibrate and always think, why am I taking this action? Why am I feeling this way? Because we're conscious and self-aware and sentient. Why is this happening to me? How do I change it? How do I go about it to improve it? And this does it it recalibrates the entire compass, us. So it starts with our identity and true self. We make sure that we are clear about who we are, an identity, our true self. We understand it, and that's why the dimensions and why how kicks in perfectly at that scale. So we identify our true self. So our true self energy guides us, purposeful daily action. Okay? So then again, because of why, purpose, and then we can clarify it with how, so we understand how we go about our purpose, how we love our purpose, so we make it happen with purposeful daily action and everything that happens as a result. And then again, why, how allows us to manage our time and energy accordingly. Third primary element, purpose being the second primary element, and identity and true self being the first one. So how do I go about my day, my time, my energy? How do I manage myself? How do I manage my energy so I make sure that I take purposeful daily action every day? And then the fourth primary element itself is action, is the action itself, proving free will, manifesting your true self, manifesting your dreams, manifesting your purpose, manifesting your identity, manifesting your dream, infinity itself. Because that's it. And then the fifth primary element is that at the heart of compass, because it's 8 primary elements. So the heart of it, the fifth one, right in the middle, the singularity, is why how, which is the singularity itself. This is a connection of why and how together. Because why how makes infinity come true through action. You see, it's a mechanism that we use to understand infinity as human beings, conscious and self-aware. So we understand reality, we understand creation, because we're part of it and we're creators just like it. Okay, so why how makes infinity come true through action. Why how is the mechanism to manifest infinity. We manifest infinity through purposeful daily action, because love is how creation creates, and we all love because creation is love and its energy is the highest energy that we can emit with our hearts, and our hearts give us life in the first place, or we are alive because of our hearts, because of the human heartbeat. So it's understanding this, it's understanding our nature, who we are, because the human heartbeat equals our biological singularity, which is what I'm going to talk about now. It's the singularity itself. When you look at the visual, you would understand that the visual is like that, infinity itself, why and how coming together. And that singularity even is the point of union. That singularity is an infinite feedback loop. And what does an infinite feedback loop does? Well, that infinite feedback loop of the singularity itself at our scale, which is a human heartbeat that allows us to exist. So be conscious and self-aware and understand infinity, and we're infinite and we're creators just like infinity itself. Creation creates creators and creators create creation. We live to love when we love to live. And we love and create with our energy, and our energy is the energy of the heart. Love is the highest energy of the heart. So then again, that infinity feedback loop that allows us to have that pulse, that makes us understand this singularity, with conscious and self-aware, is equilibrium, equals a center of gravity. And if you think in physics, a center of gravity is the epicenter, is the singularity itself, where all the vortex, the wormhole that generates the motions required for polarity itself through gravity to generate electromagnetism that creates energy itself, which is what gives life. And that electromagnetic field is a resonance of the human heart, resonating as a result of the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. This oscillation, this infinity cycle that we call the human heartbeat, that creates the electromagnetic field that gives us life so we can exist. So we're light spherical beings. Just like the sun itself, it's light spherical energy. And it has its own electromagnetic field creating that singularity of the heart, which is a fusion reaction that creates elements. So we create with our love and we create with our actions. Make our dreams come true. Actually, biologically reproduce and have children, which is a creation as well. Most beautiful creation is our children. And what we make of them as adults, with the love that we give them. And then again, the earth itself, and that goes to infinity, the galaxy itself with its own singularity, an infinite number of galaxies, creating all the energy and all the light, all the everything that creates what? Stars that create what? Planets that create what? Life. So it's a full cycle, and there's an infinite number of galaxies, and the universe itself has its own electromagnetic field that has its own singularity at the heart, what we call the Big Bang, and that itself has its own singularity that comes from a bigger tension of a sphere, which is infinity itself, that creates an infinite number of universes. Have explained this, the mathematics of infinity itself, the tension of the surface of the sphere, this infinite oscillation, this infinite number of singularities happening as a tension of the sphere, what we call gravity. We call that tension, just like the Earth rotates and has the gravity on the surface, keeping us grounded. Infinity itself has its own tension at the surface of creation itself. And that tension is gravity, what we call space curvature, or the gravitational force field. And that energy needs to be released, and it gets released into a spherical vacuum threshold within the sphere itself, with the space of the sphere. That's what we call space out there, because the space of the sphere. And it's a vacuum within it, and you feel it, and it generates that first motion due to the gravitational pull of the surface itself, the tension coming in and filling that vacuum, and then generates the first motion, and the electromagnetic field is creating at that scale of that energy. That could be a universe, that could be a galaxy, could be a star, it could be a planet, it could be us, the human heartbeat, depending on the scale, biologically speaking. So that's what it is, that's what infinity is. And it goes that into infinity because as the singularities, remember, a sphere has an infinite number of points within it on the surface, and all these points are connected. You can connect them, and the connection is called a quantum entanglement. It's a web that connects everything across infinity. Is a singularity itself works as a node in the network of infinity, and they're all connected. That's the feedback loop, you see, because infinity itself has this energetic nature and is connect all the creation. Is why are we conscious and self-aware in the first place? Because infinity itself is conscious and self-aware. Why do we love in the first place and create with love? Because infinity itself is love, and it creates through love and energy because it's conscious and self-aware. It's a mechanism, but at that scale of creation, creating universes, creating planets, creating stars, galaxies, biology, evolution, all these things, infinite energy, creating light, creating all these elements. So then again, but how does it get that self-learning mechanism, consciousness itself, through the center of gravity, which is that mechanism, is the singularity, is the node, the equilibrium, the wormhole, the vortex, the event horizon that is connected through the network. And that's how every time, because creation creates creators and creators create creations, then itself is decentralized and distributed where? Across the surface of the sphere. So all the points are connected within it because it's infinite, because space is infinite within it, and it can be divided into infinity. So when you understand this notion, which is physics, based on mechanics and fluids, this is all mathematical. So then you understand these. When you understand these, then what is the result? Well, the result is that it creates the symbol, the reinforcement, where all the points, because the singularity is a singular point where all points meet. And infinity itself, creation itself, has that point. Because all the nodes, all the coordinates, all the points in the sphere of creation itself, infinity itself, are all connected because it's distributed. So that's how it's self-aware and conscious of itself as infinity. And that's why it creates and replicates a scales in the spherical manner, because it's the mechanism that allows it to have the quantum entanglement in the first place, meaning the node, the distributed network of vortexes and singularities, wormholes that connects it all. And the energy moves through it because of the singularity of each event, because the self-learning, the consciousness, the self-awareness, the mechanism, the love, the creation gets feedback into the infinity because we are part of energy, and energy is creation, and we create with our energy. Everything is energy. Everything oscillates. Everything has a pulse. Everything has a singularity because it's creation itself. Because we're all infinite, because infinity is distributed and is holographic in the sense that everything is infinite, because it's part of infinity and is connected. So because of it has the ability to feedback loop, and everything feeds back. And because of it, because infinity is conscious and self-aware at all scales, because it replicates itself at different densities, all the singularities are conscious and self-aware. All the singularities create, because creation creates creators and creators create creation. They're all infinite, and they all capable of loving at that scale. The human scale we love is what we call it, that emotion that gives us life in the first place through the human heartbeat. So because of that, it keeps on expanding, because it's conscious of it. It gets fed back all this new information, all this new creation, all this new energy that is self-reinforcing due to the tension of the surfaces that keeps the system in equilibrium, the center of gravity of it, spinning, generating infinite energy due to polarization and electromagnetism of it at the scale of infinity. And that allows it, that feedback loop, it's not only generating new singularities within it, new spheres, new spherical vacuum transistors within it, but also expands into new creations, new infinities, because that feedback loop gets released, just like the sun energy gets released outward, just like in a galaxy, the energy gets released from the event horizon, creating stars and creating all these, just like the earth releases all this energy, creating the electromagnetic field and creating life on the surface. Just like us, create with our hands. Infinity itself does the same, not only inward, but outward, because infinitely large, infinitely small. So it creates new infinities, new universes, new realities. And it goes like this to infinity. And this is who we are. This is what it is. Consciousness is this. Self-awareness, self-reflection, because it needs to be able of reflecting, meaning learning from the previous, from the past, from all the events, from all the creations. From all the creations. It needs to be fully conscious of everything that is happening live, simultaneously, because quantum entanglement is a live state. It's an endless state. It never ends. It's always conscious of everything at once. It happens across infinity itself, because of all the states, the pulses are feeding back the information live to itself, to everything, and we're conscious and self-aware as a result of it. So it's a beautiful mechanism. This is who we are. And it's self-learning. It learns. So it keeps on evolving, keeps on becoming more infinite. That's why infinity has no end, because it keeps on growing, it keeps on developing, because it's a pulse. That's why Y never has a name. You can always keep and have a new Y, new purpose, new dream, always, because it never ends, because of the nature of consciousness and infinity itself and self-awareness. Love as the creating mechanism. And this is self-reinforcement. It leads to self-perpetuity, which is infinity itself. So this is what it is, and this is what today's video is. We live to love and we love to live. This is who we are. We're infinite energy. Infinite energy. We are benevolent species. We're light spherical beings. We have transitioned from being unaware and unconscious to be what we are today, light spherical beings, highly conscious, highly self-aware of our existence, of our nature, infinite love, infinite creation, infinite energy. We're a benevolent species with the human race. We light spherical beings. We're a compass. We're a sundial. We open the portal, we build the bridge, stare at the sun, and build that entanglement consciously. The resonance of a human heart, the electromagnetic field of the heart, and the electromagnetic field of the sun coming as one. Building the bridge and understanding that we're infinite and energy comes through our eyes and supercharges, so we evolve. Our cells, our DNA evolves as a result of this energy. So this is how we become light spherical beings, by becoming one with the light spherical being of energy, which is the sun itself. Because we're one, we're part of it. This is how it is, and this is the mechanism. So this is who we are. We're compass, we're sundials, we're the citizens of the Republic of Planet Earth, we're the defenders of the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. We're infinite energy, infinite creation. We're the citizens of the Republic of Planet Earth, we're the citizenry of the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. We're humanity, we're benevolent species, a heart-based species, a love-based species. This is who we are. This is who we are. We are a heartful species. Our nature is to love. We live to love and we love to live. We want to have meaningful lives, purposeful lives, fulfilling lives, happy lives. We strive for this. Instinct to love is the instinct to create. We live to love. We love to live. This is who we are. We compass. We're sundials. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my mind. Remember, why how makes infinity come true through action. Why how is a mechanism to manifest infinity. Human heartbeat equals biological singularity. Infinite cycle of creation. Pulse, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. Love you all with all my heart, with all my might.